Hi guys, I'm Kellyanne McKechnie. I'm here with Trican Training to talk to you about calculating or finding your max heart rate and then determining what your percent heart rates are going to be for the workouts in either the Try Me guide that I've created and you are possibly using, or just for any type of training you're using in your training plan. Okay, so one, how to calculate your max heart rate. To do that, you're going to take the number 220, you're going to subtract your age, and then that will determine your max heart rate. So for example, I'm 28 years old, so I will subtract 28 from 220. That gives me 192. Now that's 192 beats per minute. So if I were using a smartwatch such as my Garmin watch, or doing my heart rate manually with my fingers to my neck or my wrist, I would count either a full 60 seconds and count 192 heart rate beats, or I would calculate it using 6 seconds and multiply by 10, or 10 seconds and multiply by 6, however you want to determine your heart rate. But that is how you determine your max heart rate. So that is what you're going to base all of your percent efforts on that you're going to use throughout your training plan. Number two, how to calculate your heart rate for your workouts using the percentages given. So during my Try Me series, if the workout says a heart rate of around 60%, heart rate around 90 to 95%, these are going to be your examples that I'm going to show you right now. So in order to calculate your percent heart rate for each individual workout, you're going to take your max heart rate that you found up here. You're going to multiply it by the percent given on the plan. So again, let's say I use 60% heart rate, 60% your max heart rate. You're going to take your max heart rate, which mine was 192, and multiply it by 0.60, which is 60% as a decimal, and that's going to give me 115.2 beats per minute. So my target for that exercise that I'm doing at 60% of my max heart rate effort is going to be around 115 beats per minute. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm going to be tracking on my watch, or continuously doing every few minutes on like with my fingers, again, manually. Now let's say you're doing a higher effort workout and you're targeting 90 to 95% max heart rate effort. So for this example, I'm using 90 to 95%. My max heart rate again is 192. I'm multiplying it by the decimal 0.90 for that lower part of the 90 to 95. That's going to give me 172.8 beats per minute. That's the lower end of what I'm targeting for that exercise. Now for the higher end, it's going to be my heart rate. My max heart rate again is 192 times 0.95. That's at 95%, higher end of the scale, and that will yield 192 or 182.4 beats per minute. So for that specific exercise, that higher end exercise, that's going to be for a much shorter period of time at a higher effort, my heart rate should be between 182.4 beats per minute and 172.8 beats per minute. That's what I'm shooting for in that range. Again, when you're doing higher effort, it's usually for a shorter period of time, which is why you're able to get up to that higher effort. Shorter periods, higher heart rate. Number three, how to use and calculate perceived effort. Now this is very similar to your hands-on, actually like finding your max heart rate numerically, in the sense that you're using how you're feeling internally and your exertion levels for your perceived effort. So you have a scale of 0 to 100 or 1 to 10, however you want to see it. It's in periods of tenths. So on the scale, perceived effort, the baseline would be 10, which would just be breathing. You're kind of just walking, you're not really exerting much effort. Your heart rate's probably not going to go up very much. Now the next level would be 20 to 30, 2 to 3. Now that would be easy breathing. It's a very low effort. Your heart rate, you're briskly walking. You're walking a little bit faster, heart rate's a little slightly elevated. But you're easily able to talk, have a conversation, you're not going to be out of breath doing so. The next effort, the moderate effort, is 40 to 60 or 4 to 6 on the scale. That's going to be, you're able to carry a conversation, but you're going to be slightly out of breath. You're going to be breathing harder, but you're not going to have any troubles talking to someone that would be next to you if that were the case. It's a moderate effort against the middle of the scale. That's typically like your base effort, if we ever use the term base. Base is around 60%. You're a little over halfway in your effort scale, but you're still able to breathe properly. You're not going to overexert yourself, and your form is going to be perfection. From there, 70 to 80 or 7 to 8 on the scale would be, you can say 1 to 2 sentences. You're going to be out of breath in doing so. So you're working at a much higher rate. You're still not going all out. 1 to 2 sentences. By the end of those 1 to 2, you're going to need to stop, catch your breath before you're able to talk again. So your heart rate is going to be even more elevated than it would be in the 4 to 6 or 40 to 6 range. Again, that 40 to 60 is a percentage of 100, where the 4 to 6 is a scale of 1 to 10. So for that 70 to 80, you're doing a moderately hard activity. You're not going all out. You're not doing moderate, which is where you can continuously do it all day long and not really tire out. 70 to 80, your heart rate's even more elevated. You're more tired. You're giving more effort, but you're not going all out quite yet. Now, when you get up to 9 on the scale, or 90%, you're able to speak only 1 word at a time. You're really out of breath. You're working really hard. Your heart rate is up pretty high. Again, if we go back to number 2, the heart rate percentages using your max heart rate, that 90%, it's pretty close to my max heart rate, which is something I should never actually achieve unless I am going all out. I'm going to die in the next 2 seconds. Your heart rate's up pretty high, which means you can really only sustain that for maybe 30 seconds max. 40 seconds, you're going pretty hard, pretty quick, and you're not going to be able to sustain it for a long period of time. So 1 word at a time is the max you'd be able to speak without having to stop and breathe or continuously keep working. And the last one on the scale of 0 to 1 or 0 to 10 or 0 to 100% is 100%, or 10 on the scale, which is you're running for your life. Someone's chasing you. You're going to die soon. You are giving all out effort. You're not worrying about anything else. That is your only concern, is this workout, that exercise. Now that is hardly ever used, again, unless it's for a very short amount of time, 10 seconds tops. You are giving all out effort because you cannot sustain it. It's not something that our bodies are meant to do. So typically, workouts are going to be between 60 and 85% efforts, depending on what the workout is calling for. You can use your max heart rate to determine where to start. It's very simple. Again, 220 minus your age, simple number. There you go, max heart rate. For the percentages given within the guide, the Try Me guide, you're going to use the percent of your heart rate that is given. So again, if I say 50% of your heart rate, you're going to take your max heart rate number times it by 0.50, and that's going to give you your beats per minute that you were trying to achieve during that exercise. Again, you need to monitor your heart rate in order to know that you are staying on that percentage. You don't want to overshoot or undershoot. You want to be at that point specifically given for a reason. And then if you do not want to calculate your heart rate for some reason, it's just too much work for you, you'd rather go on perceived effort, that's 100% fine, absolutely okay. But again, you're using a scale of 0 to 10. It's like the doctor's scale. You see that scale like sad face, happy face. It's 0 to 10 of your effort, or you can go with percentages, which I give during the guide, which is 0 to 100%, which is the exact same as a 10-point scale. And that you can always revert back to this perceived effort or numerical hard evidence for your heart rate. Either one is great. This side is obviously going to be much more, it's going to yield more evidence-based results, and you can't really say, oh, I thought I was working hard enough, because you actually know what your body is putting out based on the numbers that you're seeing and what you should be seeing, because this doesn't lie. You know what it's supposed to be. Whereas this, you can kind of fluctuate by the day based on how you're feeling. Say that was 50% for that day, but for another day it may have been 70% or 20%. It's just an easier way to lose track of where you are in your overall scheme of your body's fitness. And you get too much caught in your head, but it is a good, perceived effort is still a great way to track and train with, as long as you realize that your body is going to be different day to day, and so is your mindset. So you need to go into every day thinking, okay, I'm not feeling so great. My 40% today may actually feel like 60% for a normal day. So you need to understand that and realize that that's going to play a part. So again, you can use either side. You can use hard evidence, tracking your max heart rate, finding that number, getting a watch, watching your heart rate, make sure you're right in the right zone, or you can use perceived effort, which is, I guess some would say easier. It's an easier way to get out of following and tracking, but it's also a good way to realize what your body is feeling at the time too. So either one's great. Use whichever one you want. This is just some little tools to help you follow the guide, understand what I'm asking about max heart rate, percents of your max heart rate, or your perceived effort level. I hope this helps, and have fun.